Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wa tamit taslim ala nabiyyina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wattabi'ina lahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Amma ba'd. Honorable guest speaker, Professor Dr. Luqman Zakariyah, and our beloved guest, dear brothers and sisters. This is our pleasure to welcome you all to our weekly lecture. And today's lecture entitled Product Development in Islamic Finance, Principles and Ethics. A part of our activities and events and programs that usually Islamic Economics Association promotes through Sharia compliant models, financial models, strategies, policies, and also principles, ethics of operation of Islamic banking and finance, and other contemporary topics and issues that we usually cover in our lectures and also in our sessions, both in Arabic and English languages. So, Alhamdulillah, Nadal Iqtisad al-Islami bi Jamiat al-Kuwait has become now a global hub and global platform for Islamic banking and finance activities and events. We, Alhamdulillah, invite world scholars, experts, and intellectuals who are a specialist in this field of Islamic banking and finance. So today we have Professor Dr. Luqman Zakariyah as our guest speaker. We thank Professor Dr. Luqman for his continuous support and contribution in our platform. So let me introduce Professor Luqman, who is a professor of Islamic jurisprudence at the Department of Islamic Studies, University of Abuja, Nigeria. And he was formerly head of the Department of Religious Studies, Federal University of Kashmir, former head of the Department of Fiqh and Usul al-Fiqh at the International Islamic University of Malaysia, a fellow of Islamic Law Study Program, Harvard Law School. Professor Luqman Zakariyah holds LLB in Sharia from Medina University and MA in Islamic Studies, Lagos State University, and PhD in Islamic Legal Theory, University of Wales, UK. And he is the founder of Executive Chief Consultant of Al-Bir, Islamic Finance Consultancy and Training, United Kingdom and Nigeria. So this is our pleasure, our honor to welcome Professor Dr. Luqman Zakariyah to conduct today's lecture on product development in Islamic finance, principles and ethics. So please welcome, Prof. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
I'm grateful for Dr. for me
Prof. Luqman, I think you have a problem in internet, so your voice is not clear.
Hello.
Yes, Prof. Your voice is not clear. I think there is a problem in internet.
Okay. So clear now?
Can you speak now?
Let me use,
It's still the same. Still the same.
let me do this. It's okay. So, hello, assalamu alaikum. Okay.
Walaikum assalam. Mashallah. Now it's perfect.
It's perfect. Okay, that's good. If there's any problem, quickly I can change to my using the laptop. I think the network is very if we be
Prof, can you do like that? You just join through your mobile phone and just with one ID, not using two IDs. And I'm going to share the slides because I think still there are some problems in internet. Hello? Yes.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Is this clear?
Yes, yes. I'm going to share the slides. So
Okay.
you may just continue by using one.
Okay, okay. I think that's good. That's good. I will be using my laptop.
Still there is an EQ in voice. There is
Okay, what of this? Is it okay like this?
Yes, now okay. Okay. Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I think the connection to the laptop is very weak from the mobile. So I'm using hotspot. That's the reason why the laptop is very, but this one can be much clearer.
Yeah, I think okay. Now you can continue. I'm going to share the slides. Okay.
Okay, you can share the slide with the audience. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونتوب إليه ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. It is my pleasure to be here today to discuss these very contemporary issue, topic, which is very important for those who are students of Islamic finance and those who are practitioners, to let us have what they call brainstorming on what we call product development in Islamic finance. As we know that product development is not a new or a loan to Islamic finance. All financial institutions in the world, they have that concept. For them to compete, for them to develop, and for them to sustain themselves, they need to develop products. So in Islamic finance, the same thing, even as a new emerging alternative banking and financing system in the world, we need product development more than anyone. However, the problem that I want to solve, or I'm researching on how can we develop our products that we meet the contemporary need and also will be Sharia compliance. For that reason, this topic came to my mind a long time ago, but I was trying to do a bit research on it slowly so that I can have an holistic idea and publication on the topic. I recognize that Professor Ahmed Habib of Durham, professor in Durham, has written a book on it, and many scholars have talked about this topic long time ago and even recently. Next slide. So to date, the product development of Islamic finance has now been systematically examined to look into how they develop products, what are the elements of the process, how did they go about the procedure to develop products. Are those products compliant with Sharia or not? These are the issues that we need to know, because product development is an essential in the financial sector for sustainable development. As I said, no any financial institution, even any company, would not like to develop new products, because it's not the only company in the world producing particular products. So otherwise, people will oversmart him and his own company will not be in existence anymore. So in other words, sustainability in any industry need product development. Next. So in that case, okay, I'm looking at, you can go back, please go back. Go back again. Again, I haven't touched on all this. I'm looking at on the laptop. Again, back. Let's go back to the second slide. The second slide. The second, yeah. Okay, the second one. I've just talked about this one, that there is no any company without product development. So like Hall in 2004 found that product development in service companies, including finance and banking, has the same effects with good products companies. According to another research conducted on product-based research, and proved that offering e-banking as a new product has a significant positive effect on Nigerian banks' performance. Yes, this research has given us clue that when you have new products, you will have more profits. And the effect of this new product will be enormous in the performance of your company. So similarly, another analysis has been presented by Dink in 2017, mentioning the positive performance of new age banking services as a significant impact on both conventional and Islamic bank in Turkey. So meaning that once you bring new product in the market, you will have more customers and your performance will be very positive, as opposed to continually offering the same products, which people may not like anymore, or that could be another way of doing it, which your company doesn't know about. So the importance of revisiting and redeveloping, restructuring products in any industry, particularly in financial sectors, is very imperative, important. Next. So, type of products in conventional financial institution. We have what they call existing products that need to be restructured Islamically. What I mean by that is that we have existing one in conventional that has been offered long time ago, but Islamic financial institution want to embrace that products. Then they need to look into it, to restructure it, to make sure that the Islamicity is injected, incorporated in that particular existing products. We have also what they call designing new products that will be Sharia oriented. Yes, a conventional banking window or an Islamic full-fledged, they will like to have a new product. And in that case, they have to start from the scratch to the end, to the market, where all steps should consider Sharia compliance in doing that. The third one will be product evolution. Product evolution means that changing product features with no change in structure. That is, the structure will not be changed. It is how it is, but the flavor or the outserve, the attribute, the features of it may be changed. For instance, when we want to give a mortgage, for instance, we want to give mortgage. Mortgage in Islam is ran, and it has been structured to use what they call al-ijarat al-muntaha bit-tamlik. That is renting that end with acquisition, meaning that the customer will rent the apartments, paying monthly. Probably after 10 years, there will be agreement that we will transfer the mortgage back to him or her. But if you want to do product evolution, we may develop another model to offer this mortgage. The structure of mortgage is there, but we can use what they call al-ijara wal-iqtina, or we use what they call al-murabaha. Muraba can be used in lieu of al-ijara. So we try to do evolution of it, make it more popular, having different way of acquiring mortgage in Islamic financial institution. Also, we can have what they call process evolution. That is to enhancing the current process and the procedure. Yes, we will say, okay, if you want to have house, we don't need to do it through the al-ijara or murabaha. But it will be like we change everything. Istisna. You will give me money to build it for you. Whether we go to the bank for the financing or we offer some financing. The last one is about accounting, compliance, and technological enhancements. In this, we have what they call how to do the process of accounting. Technological and advancements to do the calculation. So the LIBOR, interest rates, or any other software that can be used to calculate your profits can also be adapted in Islamic financial products development. Next. As we're saying, we need to look broadly the Islamic finance industry and its development in modern time. As we have said that, yes, there must be development in finance, and Islamic finance is not exempted. But we have different developments from time that Islamic finance has been emerged in the world. So ever before in 1950s, we have development of theoretical framework, Muslim majority nation independence. That is, some Muslim country like Pakistan, like Egypt, they come up with idea of developing theoretical framework for Islamic finance. And throughout that time, in 1950, 1960, Egypt, Malaysia, and a host of other are involved in the development of Islamic finance. Also in the 70s, we see Islamic Development Bank, IDB, came up with some ideas and tried to set up one country, one bank setup. We also have in the 80s advancement of Islamic products, full Islamization of Iran, Pakistan, and Sudan of Islamic finance. Through 1990s, we have entry of global institutions, HSBC, Amana in Malaysia, and even in the UK. So many companies or banking sectors, they came up to embrace Islamic finance, even if it is not full-fledged, but we still have some products developed in those institutions. And until 2000, where Islamic finance has got acceptance in the world, IMF, World Bank, African Bank, and a host of others, they embrace the idea of Islamic finance, and they try to have a systematic legislative approach to how Islamic finance can be developed. Without this, the product developed in any Islamic finance may not go out to the world. And if you see at the right-hand side, we have debt issues, insurance, which is takaful. We have private equity, project finance. We have structure and trade finance, structure product, and so on and so forth. So there are many products in Islamic finance at the moment where a Muslim can go and shop and get his own need from Islamic finance. Next. However, Islamic finance theory in product development must be known. The fundamental principle in Islamic finance, be it the product or the service, is that al-aslu fil ma'amalat al-maliya al-ibaha. That is fundamental principle governing Islamic financial contracts is permissibility, meaning that any product which is new to Islam should be assumed or construed to be Sharia compliance. The existing one, that is the one that we know in the classical books, like Ijara, As-Salam, and a host of others, are also Sharia compliance, but they are based on Al-Ibaha. From this legal maxim, we can infer that any product developed if there is no any obvious contradiction to the text, to the Quran or Hadith, are based on ibaha. We should construe them as mubah, meaning that if there is avoidance of any contravention of the established principle and prohibition in Islamic law, then it is open for any innovation. Islam, as we know, is a very dynamic religion, flexible in one way and rigid in another way. It is a balanced law and practices that you cannot just do whatever you like. If there is a text restricting you to do particular thing, but if there is no any text that restricts you, then you are allowed to do what you believe to be the norm in your country, in your community, in your society. Next. So in that case, we have three types of products existing today in terms of their nomenclature. The first one is Sharia-based products, fulfills both the legal and social requirements. I think many scholars have said this, especially Professor Ahmed Habib in Durham. He has explained about these three nomenclature of products we have in Islamic finance. The first one, as I said, is the one that fulfills both legal and social requirements, meaning that not just only the products fulfill the Islamic requirements, but it also recognizes the need of the society, because in Islam, we have different elements of law or elements of evidences that govern any practices in our religion. As Islam recognizes the culture of the land you are and the need of people based on maslahah, it also encourages you to do what we call social responsibility, at-taysir, wal-yusra, for the people. And also, he knows that when you are engulfed with what they call difficulties, it gives you relax. So there is a way of flexibility. And that is why the qaida ad-darura tutbihul ma'dhurat, that is, darura gives room for to breach the law when there is a need to breach it. So in a Sharia-based product fulfill both legal, that is the requirement of the law, whether the law of the land, Sharia law, and the social requirements are considered. So meaning that you don't just develop a product that suits the company alone, that fulfill the law, but it's harmful to the public. Let me give you an example of a product that could fulfill the legal and the social need. Let's say the home financing or car financing. Yes, you can have car that you want to rent out, but after the rent, your customer have used the car for about 10 years, and you have realized all your money plus your, what do you call it, profits. But at the same time, you do not need the car anymore, but you put price on it that the person cannot even buy it, but other person can buy it. Despite the fact that there are some defects in it, you just camouflage and sell it to the public, and they will buy it, not knowing that the car is absolutely worn out and it doesn't merit the price you sell it. That's a kind of greediness which Islam doesn't want. It doesn't serve the purpose of the public. Like the mortgage in some country, especially in the UK, where before you have to pay stamp duty, sorry, on a house 2 times, simply because you want to have it as an Islamic one. The first leg will be that stamp duty will be paid. But when it is transferred to the original owner, the Muslim who want to buy it, then you have to buy another stamp duty. You have to pay another stamp duty. This caused havoc for the public, and it was debated in the House of Commons, where they reduce or they scrap all the second one, and only one stamp duty you will pay. So it means they recognize the need of the society, as minority Muslims live in that country, and they don't want to put any hardship on them. So they have to recognize their need in order to make life easy for them. And that it is the spirit of Islam. Not that just look at the legal and you say, yes, we have done our own. Another one is a tawarruk. Tawarruk has been said that it is legally accepted, but not socially accepted. Many scholars, Manzur Kaf and host of others, they've looked into this, whether tawarruk serve the purpose of the need of the society or not. Yes, we may do it, but we fulfill the legal, but the social requirement is not there, because it will increase the inflation at the end. The second one is Sharia compliant products fulfill the legal requirement in form and substance. That is, the form and substance are fulfilled, but there is no any social requirements in it. That is, you want to sell your house for 1,000 and you show the house to the owner and he's happy, but the amount you put on the house is more than the other counterparts. I will give an example. In the UK, it has been said that the Muslims who want to buy a house, who want to get mortgage, they are paying more than the conventional one. But the form and the substance are okay. The house is Islamic, nothing wrong in having house. Then the form, that is the contract, is okay, be it ijarat muntaha bit tamlik or murabaha. But the price is too high. It's too high for people to do. If you compare it with the conventional one, you see that the conventional one is lesser than the Islamic one. So that kind of product, we may not say it is haram, because that is the price that they want to offer it, and you're happy. But some people are lamenting that the price is too high and they cannot fulfill it. Invariably, they will just go to the conventional one. Some people will say, well, what's the point for me to buy Islamic mortgage, which is more expensive than the conventional one? Let me just go to the conventional one. It means what we want to realize from Islamic finance has not been achieved through the higher price of the mortgage in that particular scenario. However, there are responses to that, that because they are very few and the process of getting it is very huge, so the amounts that they can charge will be higher than those who have more customers in their midst. So having said that, I think things are getting better gradually now. We have those Islamic products that fulfill the form, but not the substance of Islamic law. And I've mentioned that Tawarruk as one of these examples of the pseudos, or even Al-Ina, as we've learned in this forum of Nadi al-Iqtisad al-Islami, that Al-Ina has been prohibited, but there are some Islamic countries that offer these products because of the need of the society for it. Next. Next. Now, general observation on Islamic finance development or product development. Yes, it has been observed that Islamic financial institutions allocate resources for production or consumption, undertake protection, manage funds, and engage in different financial services. However, they can be found operating in secular economies without a dual legislative system. For that reason, they suffer from a lack of separate legislative frameworks, as well as fundamental flaws in business design. That means, what that means is that, yes, when we want to operate Islamic finance in a dual secular economy, there could be no any legislative enacted for Islamic finance to operate holistically in that country. So meaning that they will be using only legislative system for both conventional and Islamic. The danger in that is that there will be no any accurate way of doing it. I will give you an example. Like in Nigeria or any developing country, where when you have surplus, and at the end of the business, you don't have anywhere to put it than to put it in any other conventional banks. Conventional banks may even come to lend money from you. And if you need cash as well, your customer, let's say you are in one vicinity and another bank of Islamic branch in another place far away from you, and the customer want to withdraw millions of naira or millions of pounds, and you do not have that liquidity with you, then you have to borrow from your counterpart who are non-Sharia compliance. So meaning that you may not be able to operate holistically from Sharia point of view. They also suffer from weak method of product development. And that is what I want to pinpoint. So study on product development in Islamic finance have only focused on the theoretical aspects of the product development instead of the process modeling of it. That is very apt of the observation that in most cases, we only focus on the theoretical, musharaka, murabaha, mudoraba. But what are the processes that they follow to reach to the conclusion that these Sharia products is Sharia compliance? There is little being done. I know AUFI has regulated some of the practices and process in Islamic finance, but are they following such instruction? Are they well acquainted with the rules and regulations that govern the process? Or does the country allow them to practice it as it's been said in AUFI standard? These are the things that we need to look into when we are developing our products. Even if you have any constraint, we must let public know that this is done because of this, so that they will be rest assured that yes, your product is Sharia compliance, but is not completely out of the constraint of the government, where you can't do without doing these activities. So this is one of the observations posed to Islamic products development in some Muslim country. Next. Also, effort on Islamic product development mostly focus on searching different classical product procedure for the same conventional products. Another observation is that in most cases, we look for different classical procedure. What fiqh says in the classical books, then we want to follow the conventional products. Let's say like bond, we have bond in the conventional, but the classical one in Islamic book is a sukuk. But how do we operate the sukuk? Is it asset-based or asset-backed? If it is asset-based, which one is more Sharia compliant between the two in sukuk? So you will see this is an inquiry that many people will ask you when you said this product is Sharia compliance. Let me give you an example. In Nigeria today, when we go for sukuk and people put money there, invest money, and they gave them maybe 7 years maturity period, where are they going to get the profits? Is it asset-based sukuk or asset-backed? Definitely, it is asset-based one that we Nigeria, we will pay, government will pay it from the budgets. But are they selling something? What they use the money for, is it commercial oriented or for public use? Is the government generating fund or profit from this sukuk, or is a public service? Yes, definitely it's public service. But the government has to pay the amount promised the investors at the end of the 7 years, the tenure. The question will be, where are we going to get the profits? Is it not like giving money and getting interest from it? But the justification from the experts saying that, yes, once we construct it as ijara, or we construct it as musharaka, or we construct it as mudaraba, it is Islamic. But there is a question of whether that product is really Sharia compliance. According to some business daily paper, it says Islamic banking products and services tended to duplicate the conventional ones, resulting in these products losing value and causing some confusion in their interpretation. So one will be wondering, like home financing. When I have home financing, let's say in Britain for the Muslim, like IBB did, Islamic Bank, Islamic Bank of Britain did before, when they offer the home financing, on what module? Is it musharaka? They say, no, we don't want to have musharaka because we don't want to have any risk. Then it is murabaha. Yes, it is murabaha because we will just get our money at the end of 10 years. But when there's any defaults, what will happen to the house? What will happen is that we will seize the house and we sell it to get our money back. That is exactly what the conventional are doing. Yes, of course, it could be Islamic, but the social need or requirement in it is losing. And that is why they said to mimic the conventional one, we make Islamic finance products losing value and causing some confusion, because someone will not see difference between the Islamic home financing and the conventional financing. What about takaful? Takaful originally should be to save life, to do community service, to do ta'awun, to help each other. But now it's a business. So when I have educational takaful, if I opt out, are you going to give me my money back as if I deposited money in that takaful? Until recently, when some takaful operators are trying to look into this issue of, if you opt out, you don't have anything to reclaim. This is a conventional one. But in Islam, when you say something is takaful, ta'awun, it means we help each other during the calamity. But someone who has been with you for 10 years or 5 years, he has never claimed before, be it premium or not premium. He has never claimed, but he opted out. After a while, 1 month, 2 months, he got disaster. Then he cannot come back to you, and you cannot even help him or her. This will lose the spirit of Islam or the social responsibility of takaful in the original classical book, as opposed to the conventional one. Next. Now, some scholars also observe, and I think I have many of their observations, like Crossley, who show that Islamic banks are more profitable than conventional banks, but are less efficient in Malaysia. They found that interest-like products are lack of ethical content, even if the product seems to be in compliance with Sharia, are factors for lower efficiency. So that efficiency may not be there, okay? If customer realize that, yes, you said that you are an Islamic bank, but your products, whether deposits, whether investments, are like interest-like products, then people may not come into you as they will go to the conventional one, because they know that the conventional one is interest-based. Then they are very sure of what they are doing with them. But when you told me that my deposit is like a wadi'ah, and you are giving me hiba, at the end of every month, you are giving me hiba, like if you are giving me as a beggar, or I'm less privileged, you are giving me hiba gift. I cannot challenge you of how much you gave me. A bank, an Islamic bank, let's say Jaiz in Nigeria, I put 10,000 or 10 million in the accounts, be it current or deposit. But it is there, but you gave me hiba every month. I don't know how much you are giving me. There is no any mutual agreement on how many percentage you are going to give me. So that kind of product, we make that product, that kind of method, we make the product less effective, and you may not get more customer to come to you. Some effort focus on technology for product development and innovation. Yes, this is another observation on product development in Islamic finance, where we look at the technology, what technology can do. For example, some studies explore Islamic banking and their online services, whether online services will be more than human physical services. Yes, of course, we want to make profits, but at the same time, we should realize that employing people in the bank, especially Islamic bank, we make people to be empowered. But when half of the staff have been laid off and few of them are working the work of others, then that is a kind of exploitation of human capital. So, but technology should be used to enhance the performance of the bank, but not at the expense of the human capital. And that also needs to be taken into consideration when we are developing any product in Islam. Much of the available literature also on product development of Islamic finance deal with procedure. Some of them are looking at the procedure, not the process, or not the product itself. So step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fulfilled. But the outcome of the product, what is it about? Does it fit the need of the masses? Is it harmful? Does it have any hazard? We do not want to. Once it gives us more profit. I will give an example. There is something called POS now in Nigeria, where you can withdraw money, you can deposit money, and so on and so forth. But if you want to withdraw, let's say $1,000, you will pay certain amount of money higher than those who want to withdraw lesser than that. So they calculate the charges based on the amounts you want to withdraw. The question is that, yes, it's a technology to enhance any financial service. But what is the justification from Sharia point of view that makes you charge higher for those who want to collect higher amount of money, as opposed to those who want to withdraw lesser? So the same service you do, they put the card there, they put their PIN number there, and it is approved, then you give them money, but you charge them differently. So the question is that, what is the Sharia justification for this? Next. So method of product development in Islamic finance, we can call it innovation of products, or product innovation, and innovation of process innovation. So sometimes we need to have a new product, or the process of a product, we want to do some innovation in it. You know that al-ina was developed, and they created innovation into it to make it to become a tawaruk. And even tawaruk, as it is started in the classical book, there was innovation in the process, whereby we have organized tawaruk, commodity tawaruk, and so on and so forth. So a product might be there, but we do a kind of innovation to enhance the performance of that product. Or we change the process. We don't call it different name, but the process to achieve the product is giving a kind of flavor of innovation. So next. But the problem in these products innovation has been observed, and I will explain about the two we mentioned before, but there are two things observed. They said the first problem is Sharia compliance issue. And the second one is that, is it not imitation of conventional products? Let's see some of the thoughts of the scholars. And next. Sharia compliance or issue in product development or innovation in the product is that, besides it can be assumed that Islamic finance have two-headed product development characteristics, because they mostly have two product development channels. Product development departments, maybe most of them are not Sharia experts, and we have Sharia board who will regulate the affairs. So interestingly, both channels are responsible for product development. Therefore, they are responsible for product development problem of Islamic finance. So the two arms, the Sharia board and the product development department, should work hand in hand to make sure that there is no any hazard in any product they develop. Otherwise, both of them will be blamed of not doing the needful. What happened in development of products is that the Sharia board may not involve in the departments originally. They will leave it for the product development department to do. And later on, they will now give it to them to study. There is an opinion that it is good for Sharia board at least to involve in how they are doing it, right from the beginning to the end, so that they can checkmate the way the concept of the the concept of the product, where the product emanates. It is conventional originally, but there is innovation in it, or it is from the classical book that has been relevantized to make sure that it is acceptable to the masses. Otherwise, there will be cost effects on giving one department to finish its work, and later on, the second department, which is Sharia board, look into it, return it back to the other department, and department will look at it again, they restructure it, return it back to the Sharia board. They said both of them should work together to make sure that they have from onset good approach and concept for any product that they want to develop. The second problem is imitation of conventional products. Yes, of course, it has been said that conventional banking has been there for a long time, and they have more products that Islamic finance institution can borrow from them or leverage on what they've done. So Islamic financial institution enjoys the benefits of the conventional products features by imitating its features, which is cost effective for the sector. It mostly delivers services as the equivalent of well-known conventional products. And that is why some people don't see difference in the sukuk, Islamic sukuk, and the bond that they're offering, especially if they don't structure it properly to have some flavor of Islamic norms. Most Islamic financial institutions are new in the financial system, and the expert for product development with expertise in economics, finance, and fiqh are limited. So because of the limitation they have, majority of those who are working in Islamic banks may come from the conventional one, and that mentality of conventional system of financing will still be there. So my suggestion is that more training should be given to them. They should also offer them some courses on Islamic finance. Thanks to Malaysian Islamic financial institution, they have made it compulsory, even for the Sharia scholars, to go and have some conventional ideas. All ways of banking, transaction, and procedure, they should have it to some certain level before they can be appointed as a member of the board of Sharia board of any company or any banks. Also, students in fiqh are going for training in conventional banks or Islamic banks to know what is going on there. And after their graduation 2 years, they will have a holistic idea of what Islam says in fiqh, in classical books, and what is operational in the banking sectors. So that will make it holistic, rather than to have half-baked scholars, those who will have conventional one, working together with those who have Sharia knowledge, and they cannot communicate to each other. They can't communicate because some of the terminology used in conventional may not be known to them, and some of the terminology used in the classical books of fiqh on Islamic finance may not be known to those who are conventional oriented scholars. So there will be luggage in developing products, and that could cause some kind of havoc or not compliance for products development. Next. So the two modeling I mentioned before in Islamic finance, the one that I mentioned, product development and process development. So I want to mention them here and explain. So when we have two modeling, the first one, as we said, is product development modeling. So Islamic finance are currently using conventional product development modeling to expand their services with a circular regulatory framework. In doing so, in spite of the effort of Sharia board, they are overlooking the proper role of Sharia board in modeling to integrate the model. So this is a dilemma in the banking sector today. When they want to develop any products, the Sharia expert will be there, but the regulation of the country is also there. And I think in Nigeria and Malaysia, yes, they have that conflict, but in Malaysia, it's reduced a bit because they have gone far in doing so. And you know, the nature of the country is quite different from the nature of Nigerian legal system, where only one legislators we have, and there may be no any other legislation for any system other than the conventional one. So one of the reasons cited for the justify the action is the fiqh arbitrage, which is covered under maslaha. That is, it is maslaha, it is very difficult to have two legal systems, and we have to use the conventional system to regulate the Islamic financial products. So this is a big problem for the Muslim in many countries. But as we said, that maslaha has its role in Islamic finance. We know that maslaha in Islamic usul is recognized to solve difficulties of every society. But at the same time, there should be no any contravene to the law of Islam. Meaning, if any masla contradict direct text, then that masla is mulgha, is rejected. So many compliance problems of Islamic finance operating in secular economy are addressed in reference to masla, so that Islamic finance gains significant advantages of fiqh arbitrage as a particular form of regulative arbitrage. So what is trying to say is that, what we are trying to say is that because we want Islamic finance to get momentum and acceptance in the public, we need to look at the concept of maslaha. And some country we hide behind the maslaha, though even if there is any direct contradiction to the text. Owing to this reason, most of Islamic financial institutions experience compliance problem and criticism for imitating services as generated by the product development department and or Sharia board. So they don't have any way down to do what the government asks them to do, because there's a regulation on the practices and the process of conventional. And since they don't have any separate system or legislation, then they have to follow the existing one, which could lead to bad products being offered in the name of Islam. Next. Now, so as I said, we have conversion modeling of product development. That is one of the two I mentioned in the beginning. Conversion means that the existing conventional one, we want to convert it to Sharia. And that has to do with technical issues. The Sharia expert need to know what was the origin of that product. What is the spirit behind it from conventional point of view? Studying that, then try to convert it to make it an Islamic. It means we need the knowledge of conventional banking and financial institution or theory, and also very deep in Sharia theory. Otherwise, we won't be able to do justice for the outcome of the products that we want to convert to Sharia. So the conversion modeling can be divided into 4 stages. We have to do research on it to know the spirits, because there are some spirits of conventional one can go against Sharia completely. And the Prophet ﷺ has said that man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum. And the Quran also says, La taqulu ra'ina wa qulu unzurna. So if the motion or the spirit of interest is to go against the concept of tahrimu riba in Islam, then Islamic bank or financial institution may not be able to use the word interest. And that is why we change the interest to profit, though sometimes there is a confusion whether it is interest or whether it is profit. So we have to do research, specification to specify that this kind of product is this, and they call it takyif al-fiqhi. We must have takyif al-fiqhi for it. Whether it has origin in Islam or it doesn't have, but there is no any contradiction to the text of Islam. After that, market launch and feedback. So once we do that, then the conversion will be okay. But if you don't do that, then people will criticize the product. And that is why IBB couldn't operate very well in Britain. Because how to convert the conventional one in a non-Muslim country to an Islamic product is very difficult. So any of their, products will be rejected by Muslims. A serious Muslim will not take it. And they have to sell the bank to other investor. Next. Next. So the suggested new product development modeling is similar to conversion modeling. So that is, new product development modeling is like the conversion one with additional processes. Competition in financial services continues to be a critical element. So creating new products, transforming new ideas into corporate benefits, looking at ways to maximize customer loyalty and interests are essential in terms of providing competitive advantage and superiority to Islamic financial institutions. So in this context, financial institutions must structure the new products development department using systematic and scientific method. So we cannot say, well, we are Muslims, we have our own way of life, and we just offer a product that doesn't have some kind of systematic way of doing things or scientific method of developing a product. Then it will be totally rejected by those who have reason in what you are doing. So the model include, that is what we should use, is to collecting information or brand or opinion of people, then evaluating, projecting, converting new products, ideas into prototypes, and carry out commercialization activities by conducting market analysis. It's the same thing, very similar to the conversion of a product, existing product, but it also has a peculiar need. Next. So the new products development may have these specific things. First, research and development process, then process of collecting and evaluating ideas, that is to make sure that there is a positive sense in it. So creating idea pool, evaluation criteria, and scoring system. So the decision to create a prototype product, identification for customer and market analysis is also very important to see the feasibility study procedure, cost and benefit analysis, risk analysis, all these things should be done. Then also project management process, project management identification, that is project identification documents project management plan, project execution process, production of prototype. Then the fifth one is testing and commercialization of prototype. And the last one will be product evaluation and acceptance process, customer reviews and feedback, basic principles and principle of operational scenario studies, accept condition. So all these things should be involved in any new product. Yes, if you want to have a new product, like let's say you want to have BOT as a new product, if it is not existing in the conventional before, BOT, build, operate, and transfer. It is similar to al-ijarat wal-iqtina, or al-ijarat muntaha bit-tamlik. But it's quite different from it in the sense that you are the one who will build it. You will build it, you operate it for certain years, then you transfer it to the owner of the land. So we can say that this is a new product, but you must know whether it is acceptable to the masses. If a government wants to clear millions of houses, let's say that is not operated in Makkah. I want to use Makkah's example when they want to expand the Kaaba. So those who have shops surrounding the Kaaba, even in Medina, were giving money to go and build out somewhere, and the government took the land to expand the Haram. But if government want to use a street, build new houses there, they believe that the houses there are dilapidated and the owners are very poor, but the government want to build it. Yeah, they will build it, operate it, rent it for 20 years, then they will transfer it to the owners, the owner of the land. So in that case, we have to use all this mechanism before we can reach to the conclusion that kind of product is acceptable to people or not acceptable to people. Now, next. There are challenges for the Muslims or Islamic Bank to develop products. There are challenges, but I mentioned a few of them here. One, Islamic Sharia problem and challenges. And we've mentioned that in most cases, we do not have those who have holistic knowledge of what is going on in Sharia books. And they will be championing the cause of Islamic product developments. Then that we got hostility by the Muslim customers. Or vice versa, we have Muslims who do not know how to relate with the public or the scientific way of doing things. And if they create any product, it won't be accepted. Mature management is also very important. So wise governance could be one of the things that could be challenged for the Muslims in the world. Thanks to some country, the Gulf country, Malaysia country are very matured because they are interested in the development of the sector. So they do a lot of researches and bring out some modalities to operate so that they can meet up with the standard, the global standard. However, some countries are not like that, So developing products, according to Sharia, is burdensome and more difficult than the traditional ones. So they will just leave it as it is, and they will operate Islamic banks as if it is conventional one. Next. Various tendencies. Despite the fact that several countries pass laws pertaining to the Islamic finance, there are still organizational challenges facing this institution, owing to the lack of standardization measures, the lack of uniformity among Islamic institutions. So the Malaysia will say, this is our standard, The Gulf, we say this is our standard. Africa, we say this is our standard. And to come together, work together, do global transaction, or even invite non-Muslims to do business with the Muslims globally will be very difficult. So appropriate financial instruments. What kind of instrument we should use? Is it musharaka? Is it mudoraba? Is it al-ijarat muntaha bit-tamlik? Which one we should use for mortgage? So mortgage in Britain may be based on murabaha, but in Malaysia it is ijarat muntaha bit-tamlik, or in Nigeria will be in another form. So these appropriate financial instruments is one of the things that's giving Islamic financial products challenges in the world, but we get there when there is uniformity in the legislation or in the standardization of what is going to be done. Next, this is the last segment of the lecture. Is about the general principles and ethics to guide product developments. We know that in Islamic finance, there are do's and don'ts in it. And once we want to do any things in Islamic financial institution, we must itemize these do's and don'ts so that we don't contradict the Sharia boundary. We should also know which one is purely haram and which one is makruh. One tolerable and non-tolerable things should be known. So for that reason, the general principle is that avoidance of the invalidating and defecting factors. Once we can take care of this avoidance of invalidating and defecting factors, then any product that we develop will be more Islamic than conventional. It may even look like conventional, but it will be Islamic. And that is what they call Islamicization or Islamization. According to Wahbat Zuhaili, says one that fundamentally legally sound but has a violating forbidding characteristics is a defective commercial contract. So any defective commercial contracts is the fundamental legally sound, but is one that fundamentally legally sound but has a violating forbidding characteristics. So if there is no any defective elements in the products, it will be more acceptable to the Muslims than to let it be like that. So the main one, I mentioned them here, we take it one by one. The first one is riba. And I think we've talked about riba in most of our lectures, the different types of riba. So if there is no any element of riba, which is interest and usury in any products, then it is Islamic. Al-gharar, ambiguity or uncertainty. If something has a kind of gharar that we are not certain about it, there's no any certainty in what we are doing, then it may not be Islamic. Let me give you an example of e-markets. E-markets today is popular. Someone sits in his house. He doesn't have any products, but he wants to sell products. He look on the online, he saw some clothes and the price, and he will just copy those products in his website or this and that, and try to promote it, market it, and ask for the payments. So people will pay him, and he will look for that market, for that product in the market. And if he doesn't get it, he will return the money back. However, the money you have gotten from people, millions of people, what are you doing with that money for 1 week that you are searching for the good? Also, you contradict, you do not have it. When should you be selling it? Some will say it is salam products, but the salam product has some requisites, but you do not fulfill that requisite, the requirement. So there is a gharar in it, because if you bring it to me, I may not like it. Next. Al-jahala also is one of the things that we should look into when we are developing products. There must be no any jahala in it, meaning that the other partner or other party should not be ignorant of what we want to say. I will give you an example. In some website of Islamic banks or financial institutions, they will mention something, some clauses, which are jargon, legal jargons. People don't know the meaning, but you call it Islamic finance. Why can't you be transparent? Why can't you be transparent? Transparency in Islamic finance is one of the factors for good products. If there is no any transparency, then there is no any Sharia compliance in your financial products. It will be rejected. If it is not in this life, it will be rejected in the hereafter. Al-gharat, you shouldn't make a mistake. You want to say murabaha, but you call it musharaka. And you know that the concepts are quite different. So when you develop, you should use appropriate terminology for the products. Like mortgage, if it is al-ijarat muntaha bit-tamlik, it has meaning and it has principle. So you cannot use al-musharaka. If you use al-musharaka for it, and you mean al-ijarat muntaha bit-tamlik, you are confusing people and it is a mistake. Al-aib, defect should not be in it. Defect in the language you use, defect in the way you construct it, defect in the product that you are giving. So we should avoid anything like al-aib, flaw, or defects in any product that we are developing. Al-maisir and al-qimar, gambling and fortune-based game, should be out of the products that it is Sharia compliance. Al-ghabun, that is very important. Ghabun means unjustifiable and unreasonable price. When you are putting very high price on commodity that I can see somewhere very cheap, and you claim that, oh, mine is this, mine is that. Yes, you should be moderate in the price. You should be moderate in the price. You know, in some country, if you live in this area, the amount of renting house is this. If you buy a house in such place, the amount of buying house there is this. Muslim in any product should be moderate, and your profit should be minimized, not to maximize. So we should have a clear distinction between capitalist economy and Islamic economy. Capitalist business and Islamic business. Otherwise, the value of Islamic product will be missing in anything we are doing. We shouldn't help people to do unlawful things. What that means is that in Islamic product development, we can also help some conventional people to make their riba effective in Islamic bank. Let me give an example. A Muslim bank, Islamic bank, getting loan for Muslim customer from conventional one and have a private discussion with him that, well, we cannot give you this money. We know you are our customer, but our product says that we be intermediary between you and conventional. Islamic bank cannot have a product of intermediary with the conventional riba banks. So Borrowing money from conventional for your customer in Islamic bank and you call it a product, that is not accepted. وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. انتهاك الحرمة الشرعية, violation of Sharia sanctity. So what Sharia has said haram, you produce it as a product for the Muslims as if it is Sharia. Like something which is ribawi, you allow it, you halalize it. Halalizing what is haram in Sharia is a violation of the hurma of Sharia. So any Muslim financial institution should refrain from something like that because it is not accepted. Next, al-hila, legal device, rules is not accepted. Tricking people into your products, calling it something, but something beneath that, or hiding somewhere in the product is not accepted. A dollar, be harmful, anything that's harmful to the customer should not be a product that you will offer. Zulum, injustice, unfairness in dealing, like the clauses we put in mortgage. You put the clause that you will rob the customer because they don't read the lengthy conditions. So you will rob them and you make some kind of injustice and fairness there, that if the house is this, you are the one to responsible for repairing, but that repairing is for you, is not for them. So from a Sharia point of view, the product is not, or we can call it pseudo product. And nudge, artificial price hiking is also not accepted. And al-ikra, coercion and compulsion is not accepted in the product development. So if you can try as much as possible to observe all these itemized elements of invalidating and defecting factors in any products, then I believe that any product development in any financial institution in the world will be more Islamic than the conventional one. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله ولكم ولجميع المسلمين إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Prof, for this wonderful lecture. I believe that the topic is already clear to all the guests, from the evolution of product development and also the procedure of the product development in Islamic financial institutions. So for your information, this lecture is also recorded in our channel in YouTube. But if you need to write either in Arabic, Nadil Iqtisad al-Islami, or you may write the topic in English. So the lecture will be in front of you, inshallah. So we have few more minutes. So if there is any question or comment, so we may respond. So either you may raise your hand and you may speak, or you may write the question in the question box.
Mahmoud Iyad Thabit is raising the hand.
Yes,
hand.
Brother Mahmoud Iyad, you may speak now, please. Mahmoud Iyad. And Olaidi Yusuf. Olaidi Yusuf. Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
We appreciate our Prof for this wonderful presentation. Likewise, the organizers. My question is that pertaining to Sharia products in financial banking, what can be done for a person that is seeking to deal with a particular Sharia product, but he himself, he understands that the bank, they have fulfilled some of the requisites and some of the conditions that are supposed to be fulfilled according to the Islamic law and the classical books. But the Sharia, the staff, the bank staff, they do not understand the Sharia things. It is all that is just written in their book that they understand. So is it advisable for such a person to move forward in dealing with the bank on that product, or he should leave it because he think that some of the requisites is supposed to fulfill has not been fulfilled? Secondly, pertaining to POS in Nigeria, because I'm a Nigerian, I'm from Nigeria, pertaining to POS in Nigeria, how can a Muslim interact with these banks, the Muslim and the Islamic banks in Nigeria? How can a Muslim interact with them with regards to POS when the same amount the conventional banks they are deducting from different kinds of products and different kinds of amount one wants to withdraw is the same thing as the Islamic bank?
Thank you.
How can a Muslim deal with them? That's my question.
Okay. Margareta,
Yes.
can I answer that, or we take
Yes.
some questions?
Yes, please. Yes, yes.
For the Islamic bank that doesn't have some prerequisite from the classical books on their products, and they are offering it for you. Yes, if you know the prerequisites, and you can meet the manager. You can meet the manager that, yes, your products, I know you call it Islamic, but I believe that so things supposed to be included. You have that touch as a customer. You can write even complaint of this and the observation, put it in the complaint box. They will open it and read it and pass it to the Sharia advisory committee. I believe that sometimes those who are working on the floor of the bank, they are not very equipped with Islamic knowledge of what they are doing. So they follow the guideline they gave to them. They may even not be Muslims. So don't be surprised. So they may not be Muslims, but your own role is to let them know that there are defects in this. However, you have to be very sure that that defect is a fundamental, because in Islamic mu'amalat in the book, we have shurut al-sihha and we have shurut al-ijza. So if something is now shurut al-sihha, that is a condition that makes something valid. If it is not that, then you may not complain. They may say it's like mandub, shartu mandub. So if a shart is mandub, we cannot compel a bank to include that shart in their products. However, if it is a shart al-ijza or si'a that will render the product invalid, then you can let them know that this product is not valid. And you can even go to their website and make your observation. If you think that your mind is not settled with the product, you can opt out. But if you can have what you call balwa, or you have under Dorura, you can go for it, but try to improve it for them, to tell them that they should not do the needful. As we do in the Western country, we give them some kind of respite to correct some of the wrongs that they have in the product. In the POS, yes, POS is very common in Nigeria. This is the first time I will hear when I came back to Nigeria. They will call it POS, but the way they operate it is very antithetic to some of the Islamic norms. And I think Professor Abdulrazak Alaro, Jazawullah Khair, he has commented on it. He was asked about it, and he gave a fatwa on it that, yes, if you want to have charges, it is allowed to have charges on your service. But how do you determine the amount of money you are getting? But the excuse is that it is imposed on them by the banks. That is the standard of conventional banks. And that is why you don't see many of our Islamic banks have POS operationals. So most of the banks that are giving people POS to operate outside, majority of them are conventionals. And they are using conventional norm to charge, to say if someone collects 1,000, take 100 naira from him. If someone collects 1 million, take 6,000 from him. According to the higher the amount you collect, the higher the charges they will charge you. But Prof said that there is no any difference in charges. So why are you having different charges on the money they collect? So if Muslim found himself in that scenario, you have two options. Either you go to the ATM to collect your money, or you be under the Dorura and you collect it from POS, which is sometimes is easier for you when you are in place that there's no any ATM and you need to spend your money, and that is the situation in your country. So we just abide with it, and we pray to Almighty Allah to change the affairs of the Muslims and the country as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. So, Alhamdulillah, we already completed our today's lecture. And on behalf of Nadil Iqtisad al-Islami, we would like to thank all the guests from around the globe who join us today's session. And we thank also our officials, our management boards of the Nadil Iqtisad al-Islami, especially Dr. Ala Al-Ubaid, Director General of Nadil Iqtisad al-Islami. And our special thanks to Professor Dr. Luqman Zakariyah for his effort and continuous support, and especially for today's excellent presentation. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward him, to bless him with his mercy, and Jazahullah khairan. Before we end the session, if Prof. Luqman has few words to share. Yes, please.
No. I think thank you very much for your hospitality and trust in us. I wish Nadi Al-Iqtisadi and all our directors, those who are in charge of it in Kuwait, and those who are coordinating it, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless all of you, to reward you of these great efforts to disseminate information about Islamic finance to the global. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you in this life and the hereafter. And also I thank all the listeners. Sorry for my inadequate to deep into it. I've been having series of lectures since Monday. So almost every day I have lecture of 4 hours. So I was trying to dodge today's, but my Dr. Muhyiddin doesn't allow me to go. So thank you very much for the trust you have in me. If I made any mistake, it is from me, and I ask Allah to forgive. But if I've done something good, it is from Allah. We ask him to accept it from us as an act of ibadah, and to make us among the pious in this life and the day of resurrection. Yeah. Someone is raising his hand. I don't know. Mukhtar Yunus Muhammad. Is there a quick question before Dr. Muhyiddin goes?
Okay, let us check. Brother Mukhtar.
Mukhtar Yunus Muhammad.
Yes, Brother Mukhtar. Yes, if you have a question, please. Brother Mukhtar Yunus.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Yes, my greetings to the all of the please. We need an email address for the Professor Zakariyah, because we seriously need his mentorship on some issues. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Mashallah.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there is a email ID of Prof. Luqman, so you may save it. So I think that's all. We will see you again, inshallah, in other upcoming lectures. Our all English lectures are on Thursday, so you may note it down and you may join all the sessions, English sessions, on Thursday at the same time. So see you soon, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.